More and more layers of allegations are still being made about how the Niger Delta Development Commission have been used over the years as a cash cow by various interests operating within the region and outside of it, in an area where the political leaders and those at the grassroots are most times on different sides of the divide in matters of development programs and projects. Recent revelations about pervasive fraud at the Commission could redefine the form of any regional conversation going forward. But for the here and now, we're going to focus on the latest allegation of fraud being leveled against the Interim Management Committee of the NDDC. And for that, we're now being joined by Kolawole Johnson, Head Research Strategy and Programs at Act for Positive Transformation Initiative, an anti-corruption watchdog. Welcome to the program. Good morning, Kolawole Johnson.
Doctor, good to see you again. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, quickly, we'll be discussing the...
Let me ask you, sir. Bros, wait, make I ask you.
You want to take over the interview?
Now? Well, of course I cannot. Is the phone ringing now?
Well, the phones are ringing.
Good to see you again.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Anyway, let's discuss the crisis at the NDDC. We've been hearing stories about missing 40 billion naira and all kinds of counter allegations between the Interim Management Committee and the National Assembly, particularly the Senate. Now, I know that your NGO ACT has issued a lot of statements on this particular crisis. What exactly are the issues? What exactly is going on, and what are your expectations?
First, you started by saying that NDDC has been done for corruption over the years. That's the truth. It's been a cesspool of corruption for the past 20 years. NDDC came into being in year 2000. That was when the act was established by the National Assembly. And 20 years after, you can barely see the impact of NDDC in the Niger Delta state. Of course, you can see, some projects, very few, but they have turned the region to a site of abandoned projects. They have turned the region to a site of where you have projects on papers and they are never on the ground for the people to see. I have read reports of billions of naira. For example, one that was done recently by one medium, where billions of naira have been budgeted for water projects, like in a span of 2 or 3 years, and there's nothing on ground, and people still drink from the same water that they pass excreting in. You need to go to the Niger Delta and see the suffering of the people. Let me just wind back a little bit. If you look into the degradation of the area, air pollution, water pollution, the land pollution, you will pity the people. First, if you understand the fact that in the last 40 years, we have had over 30 trillion naira in cost, in terms of value cost for the for oil spillage and gas flaring in the area, you understand that the area is been injured seriously. The people can no longer, most lands there, many of the lands can't even produce anything, so people can farm. And you come to the sea, you come to the waters where they can make their living through fishing. But the fishes are dying in the ocean due to oil spillage. What do you want the people to fall back on? And the entire nation today, we have some measure of comfort, largely because of the sacrifices of the Niger Delta region. Now, should we continue to watch our helplessness, or to approach the despondency with a sit-down-and-look approach? The answer is no. Now, NDDC came into being to ensure that some of these things are addressed, to ensure that the area witnesses infrastructural development. But we've not seen that over the years. What we have seen is that people who have ambitions, they struggle to get to NDDC in whatever capacity, and they gather money to go contest. The story has been for several years. Now, the president said, okay, it is time to find solution to these issues. Let us suspend the board for a while and bring in an interim management that will ensure that we clean the place and allow a new board to come in on a fresh note so that we can start rewriting our history, the history of failures, the history of abandonment, the history of poverty in the area. And we were all happy. Suddenly, we noticed that the IMC that was brought into the place to clean the place, they themselves, in fact, the fraud going on now is much more than what has been before. I can say that because I have documents to back up every single claim I made. Now, we have followed the happenings in the place since October that the present IMC came in. And in January, we wrote our first petition to National Assembly. They didn't do anything about it. Nothing was done about our petition. Now, in April, to be very precise, Sunday 26th of April, I watched the director of project, Dr. Cairo Jugbo. He was on television, a national television, and he was asked some specific questions that he provided answers. Number one, he said the IMC had not awarded any contract at all till date. He said the IMC had not awarded any COVID-19 related contract. He also, and they asked him, do you know Osmosab? He said no, he didn't know Osmosab at all. Now, sitting at home watching that program, I have documents to show that, number one, contracts related to COVID-19 were awarded. I will leave them here this morning. I am ready to be on oath for everything I say on this program, so that I can, in fact, I can be responsible for it anywhere. Now, let me just explain to you that Doctor did not tell the truth on that program because, number one, they have awarded COVID-19 related project. He said they were still waiting for presidential approval before the award. But they had awarded. April 6th, to be very precise, a company named Osmosab was awarded contract for supply of medical equipment and COVID-19 related PPE equipment. And they were paid on April 15. Here is the award letter. On April 16, Osmosab was paid. CBN number 11018, batch number 13593, withholding tax number 13594, VAT number 13595. And they were paid 15% upfront for the 4.86 billion naira contract award, and the amount processed for payment was about 725 million naira. That represents 15%, and after tax, what entered into the account was about 638 million naira. This document is hereby presented to your station as evidence. You can do further work on that.
We're not a court of law.
No, further.
Please go on.
No, of course. See, the day he came here, I watched him. He was sent here. Here's document. He'll keep it back. I'm submitting my own. I'm ready to sit with him. Let us compare notes. Because, see, this issue is of public importance. Let me just move on. Now, other companies were given COVID-related contract. One of them was Julius Dinga, that was given a contract in excess of 740 million naira. Guess for what? For consultancy on awareness campaign on COVID-19 in the Niger Delta State. Consultancy, please, consultancy on awareness. Now, he was paid about 112 million naira. Yes, 112 million naira was paid out to that company, representing 15%. Again, I have document. I will submit it down also for you. Now, what am I saying? They started all of this because they went on here to tell open lies. So we came out a few days after to say, no, now this cannot be. So we issued the first statement and saying that, no, doctor lied on air, that he knows those companies and contracts have been awarded. That was the beginning of all of this. And we wrote another petition to the National Assembly. We had to also tell our friends, because if you are truly a genuine CSO, you can't operate alone. You have friends, except you are fake, those that they pay to rubbish people. Now, we told our friends, please, let us bombard the National Assembly with petitions. Perhaps they will act. And we bombarded them. And at the end of the day, they acted. And they call for the probe of NDDC. We were glad that, okay, perhaps we'll see some justice, because the main thing is this money were freshly stolen. The thing is in billions. If I tell you what IMC has spent, this year alone, they have spent over 80 billion naira. I can tell you that. But we'll get to that. Now, we bombarded NAS, and they said they will probe them. And we started watching because we know the antecedents of these guys, both NAS and NDDC. And suddenly, by God's grace, again, we got them. That they smuggled a letter to NAS asking for environment. Specifically, asking for environment. And if you read the content, those women were meant to cover up for the amount they were being probed for. In specific. Now, we issued another statement alerting Nigerians that we should please bombard the National Assembly not to allow that to happen, because a lot of times here we want to probe. It is so that they can also eat out of the cookies, but we wanted to break that. So we shouted again, and again, Arise was there. You again provided a platform for us. Nigerians heard us clearly. And we came to tell you that they were asking for environment when their budget was just 2 weeks to the end of their budget year. Now, in that letter they wrote, let me read a clause there to you, because they came to say that those figures were lies. I'll get there. Item 3B on the letter they wrote to NAS. They said some payments were made to ongoing projects and programs based on proposed amount sent to National Assembly and all that. So they have made payments already. They were now looking for approval to cover up for those payments. And I said we saw some ridiculous amount in that environment list. I gave specific examples that the IMC said they have spent 5.5 billion naira on awareness campaign on communicable diseases. And I raised the question, the entire country, how much have we spent on communicable diseases? And go to the Niger Delta State, where have they made this awareness? I made that first. And again, I explained to us on air that the National Assembly appropriated 800 million for contingency allowance on road repairs, not specific road. Specific roads were given allocations. Now, they said, take 800 million for contingency. Should there be any need again? But IMC wrote a letter to NAS that they have spent 25 billion naira. In case they said they have not spent this, let me ask us, if you're writing for 25 billion naira 2 weeks to the end of your budget year, do you want to implement this in 2 weeks? The answer is no. And by what they wrote here in their letter means that they have spent the money. They're only looking for approval. And the man came here to say that I mind. Let him challenge me and bring out documents. Now let me now get to the surprising thing. In spite of all of this noise, in spite of all the allegations, theft still continues there. Now the IMC said when they wanted to, reply to our allegations, number one, they refused to answer specifics. They were casting aspersion. They left our specifics. I've been giving you specifics. They did not answer. They were just making noise. And they said they hired a consultant for rebuttal to my allegation for 39 million naira. I will give you the documents now. They hired this. They made a payment on the 19th of May. In the midst of all of this noise and investigation, they made a payment of 39 million naira that it was meant for consultancy on rebuttal. Doctor, you are a top-rated journalist. That somebody will hire a consultant for rebuttal on simple allegation and you will award it for 39 million naira. Consultancy, not the actual thing itself. Now, on the 22nd of May, they went ahead to pay out 641 million naira. Yes, 641 million naira. Guess what it was meant for?
Well, Kolawole Johnson.
For forensic audit. Forensic audits that is ongoing inside offices. Is that what they are paying that for? I will submit that document now. The account number they pay that into is
Kolawole Johnson.
Account number.
Just hold your thoughts. Could you please hold your thoughts for a moment? We need to take a short commercial break. When we return, the conversation will continue. Please stay with us.
Welcome back to the morning show. We're still with Kolawole Johnson, Head Research Strategy and Programs at Act for Positive Transformation Initiative. Mr. Johnson, before the break, you made some pretty staggering allegations, but can you tell us what are the prayers in your petition? What would you like to see happen? And generally, as we look at NDDC at 20 years old, what direction would you like to see it take? Because quite frankly, different things have been tried. Forensic audits, IMC, which has even been changed. I believe there's only one member who survived the substitution. It's been under the office of the SGF, Secretary to the Federal Government. It's now under the Ministry for Niger Delta, all without results and tangible dividends being delivered to the people who need it most, the people of the Niger Delta. I mean, look at what happened with COVID-19 and the oil prices plummeted. We all felt the pinch. So we do rely on the Niger Delta and we don't treat it accordingly. What would you like to see going forward?
Great. Thank you. Now, our conversation is centered around change. It is easier to make noise anywhere, but what we do at ACT, once we identify room to create a change, we stay with the issue until we make changes happen, because we can make noise there and we move to another. Thank God that you also mentioned the state of the people living in the Niger Delta and the state of infrastructure there. And you can then imagine if billions are going to the pockets of people while the people are suffering. I said on this same station that post-COVID-19, you don't know what will happen. The economy of nations are going down. Nigeria is not immune from this. It therefore follows that we won't have enough money to spread around again. So the best thing we can do is to ensure that what we have now is utilized judiciously. If you can't spend it on project now, please keep it so we can spend. One example is 2018. We went, 2008, Nigeria went into recession. But of course, you know that we didn't feel it that much because we had enough in our savings. So right now, our agitation is simple. Let the money freshly stolen be returned to the purse so that people can have money to spend post-COVID-19 when there will not be much income again coming in. Number two, the IMC was put there to clean the place. If they themselves are now corrupt, I put it to Mr. President that two things he can do. We can't tell him to sack them. No. Two things he can do. One, he can clean up the place and give them fresh mandates with specific guidelines that they cannot move away from. Or he can decide to use them. It is left to him to do, because a lot of things are going on there. Take, for example, in the month of April, when there was lockdown, the MD, Professor Ponde, collected 51.6 million naira for project monitoring and his hotel bills. Where did he go to? He has collected the same in the month of May. Let him deny now. I will leave document here for you of that payment. I give you TSA schedule, payment vouchers. Now, he collected that. In the midst, how much are you entitled to as a minister? Besides, you can't even collect impress monthly. Such monies like that, reimbursement, it is collected per quarter, according to Section 10141 of the Financial Regulation Act. But they collect these every single month. And we are saying that as a minister, you're only entitled to about 500,000 or so in reimbursement. Why are you collecting that much amount? So we want the president to please do two things. One, bring sanity to the present IMC immediately. The forensic audit is already focusing on the years of waste from inception to 2019. But the present waste ongoing is not covered by the forensic audit ongoing. And again, to you, if you know that even the forensic audit is turning to forensic fraud. Let me explain. This present IMC got there in the month of October. It took them 4 months before they could hire a lead consultant on the forensic audit. And since then, they didn't procure any auditor. It was after the National Assembly started their probe that they rushed to BPP to ask for waiver to procure auditors, forensic auditors. And they did not advertise. They handpicked them. And do you understand that the minister had nominated MD of that same commission before, had nominated executive directors and members of board of that same commission before? Can he do justice with people he handpicked to be forensic auditors? Mr. President should please bring in independent forensic auditors from anywhere in the world to open the books. I bet you, those who are claiming saints now will all be swept away. Number three, this thing is clear. Each time they said, open your books, they start blackmails. What is the big deal? You have been alleged. If you know you are not guilty, bring your books now. I am waiting with my document to stand at the National Assembly to defend everything I allege them. And God willing, if they say they won't have money for life hearing, we will rally Nigerians to please give us money, or rally stations, beg them to please transmit it live, so that they let them both finish themselves. So our prayers are very simple. Let there be reorganization in that place, and every single penny stolen freshly should be returned. And there should be a reform of NDDC in a way that it can produce for the people and it will fulfill its mandate.
Well, Kolawole Johnson, I'm quite impressed that you came with a box full of documentary evidence. I hope you got those documents through due process of freedom of information application. And I hope that there's no document there that is classified. But in any case, that's just by the way. Now, you are asking for the reform of the NDDC, but some people are even saying that the NDDC has outlived its usefulness and should be disbanded, and that even the present IMC should also be asked to step down so that progress can be made. What do you say to that?
Clearly, I would not agree that NDDC had outlived its usefulness. No. NDDC came into being year 2000 through genuine agitation. The people were being deprived. We need to attend to them, at least, especially. Years after, NEDC, Northeast Development Commission, came into being on that ground, that some people rose up in a place and destroyed their communities. And the entire nation is contributing, especially with the money from the Niger Delta, to build the place. You're coming to say any decision should be scrapped. They can't try that. Going to the specific, what has been happening with NDDC, that it has been turned into a political table for people to come there and play with our finances. So the reform that will be involved will give specific recommendations or reforms on the management of NDDC. It's not, management is not a rocket science. Just sit down, create an open system, a transparent system, and the place will move. On the IMC, I will say that the biggest disappointment of NDDC is the present IMC. There are some things we are still keeping because they are mining our documents so they can start preparing their defense. We won't allow them. We won't bring out all our documents. We'll bring out the ones that we know for conversation now. We'll keep the rest to when we'll be able to go defend what we have alleged them of. See, the present IMC are doing more damage to the system because nobody is holding them accountable for project implementation. So every money coming in are being mopped into their pocket. That is the danger. When the board is in place, expectations have been were in place for them to even perform, even though at the end they don't perform. In the entire nation, you understand that the value we get for project is extremely minimal, perhaps 30%. I'll explain. If 100 naira is approved for a project in Nigeria, you can be so sure that the value you get on the ground is no more than 30%. That's the maximum a lot of times. It may be, perhaps in some few places, you may have 40%. That's the maximum. Because first, corruption would have taken like 30, 40%. Number two, because the project won't even be up to the amounts they are quoting. So first, we have shortchanged ourselves in that area. Secondly, bribery would have taken some percentage, and again, shoddy jobs, shoddy contract implementation would have taken a large percentage. At the end, you either get 30%, 20% value for money spent. But in the Niger Delta, it is worse. You hardly get 15% value, project value for every project that is implemented. In a lot of cases, they are used as conduit pipes to siphon money away. Let's change the system. Let people start bidding for projects. All these emergency projects, emergency disabling, are meant to just take money away to the people. Now, there is something that I remember again. Dr. Cairo sat here in the studio and said that that on the 15th of May, 2015 or so, or 19 or so, that NGOs were paid 50 billion naira. Shut in just one day from NDDC. What were they doing? Now, I have checked the account flow of that period. There was no single payment like that. But let's assume they exist anywhere. Should Nigerians not cry out, NGO, what are they doing to swallow such money? Of course, you can hardly believe Dr. Cairo. He lies from both sides of his mouth anyway. But if it is true, we should challenge such expenses. They bring budget with several nasty things that will not affect the lives of the people. So we should start looking into the budgeting process of NDDC, the exact thing they are budgeting for. What are they bringing on board for us to do? Those are the things we should start looking at. And I beg to say that it appears to me that the present Minister of Niger Delta Affairs has abandoned his ministry, the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, that is supposed to complement NDDC. And he is sitting on the day-to-day running of NDDC. And we should start asking him what he has done in his own ministry in the last 1 year. Even if they have wasted the entire thing we should have done at that commission in a year. So
thank you very much, Kolawole Johnson.
NDDC.
Thank you very much. I hope that Dr. Cairo Ojogbo, who is probably watching this program, would have counter responses to some of the issues you have raised. He's Executive Director of Projects at the NDDC.
We'll take
okay. Thank you for coming.